All right. Good morning, everybody. And we are live in multiple destinations. And just want to say thank you for being here. We are, um, I'm obviously having a few technical difficulties. YouTube doesn't want to stream this morning. So thank you for joining and being on multiple platforms with me. I'm at Wifey School on YouTube, also Wifey School on X, and on Instagram, where I broadcast my regular streams. And it looks like we're having glitches in multiple areas. So hang with me here. I'm almost ready, almost done here editing. And that's why you definitely do want to follow on multiple platforms, because every once in a while there is a hang up in our broadcasting software. And because we go every day, this is just what we're doing. The show's got to go on. I'll be on multiple platforms each time, actually. I broadcast to YouTube, X, and Instagram for sure. And so make sure to join me there at Wifey School. So we're broadcasting on X and Instagram today, and I will put the recording in YouTube later. And here we go. So first of all, good morning. Welcome to the Wifey Wake Up Podcast. I'm Tara Bachland, and this is all help and advice based upon my 20 plus years of marriage to my wonderful husband and experience in life. So this is all based in life experience. Of course, I've read a few books, done a few courses, that sort of thing, but this is really based in life experience. These are things that I wish I had known earlier, or am very grateful I knew at the time. And so today we're talking about, ladies, why I think that you should get married sooner than later. And this is part of a How to Catch a Quality Husband series. This is part 2. And if you are enjoying this content, if this resonates with you, please give it a like, comment. Would love to hear from you. And for sure, subscribe and share with a friend that you think would enjoy this as well. And again, I'm on multiple platforms. Make sure to like and subscribe on those multiple platforms. You'll actually get different, a bit varying content. And of course, on YouTube, X, and Instagram, the live broadcasts in particular. And like I said, this is part of a series that I'm working on. And of course, this is based on this one's largely based on my life experience. So just to start out, I want to give you a heads up. This is where this story really begins. I got married to my husband 9 days before my 19th birthday, and he was 30 years old at the time. Even he is like, just please say you were 19. And I mean, it was technically 18. Met and had a relationship all while I was legally of age, and it just worked out amazingly, just how it was supposed to. And what's so interesting is, I never really planned to get married right out of high school. I certainly wasn't how I was raised. I was raised to get the good education, get a good job, then you find your husband, then the house, the family, and all that stuff. But the thing is, life and God have other plans at times. And so you have to, we really always have to roll with the punches. So I sensed at the time when I was getting married that I was simultaneously like doing what was so traditional, and so many women generations before me were just elated. I mean, that's really what they wanted, right? I know there are other stories, but for the large part, this was something that was a part of life for most young women. And at the same time, I really felt like I was breaking a rule. I was breaking an unspoken but really well-enforced rule of my feminist tribe that I grew up around. And it was very apparent to me that was going on. But fortunately, by that time in life, and granted, I was relatively very young still, but fortunately by that time in life, I had had enough experience of really desiring certain things, moving towards and making things happen, that it was not a new experience for me. So I already knew what it was like to push towards something that not only I wanted, but I really intuitively felt. And I'm going to give you a few examples. And this might sound like elementary, because they literally are very elementary examples, but this is the type of thing that I think it is like initiation processes leading to adult life. And so it started out as a kid when I was totally not athletically inclined, but I pushed myself to learn how to do well in softball. Do well relatively locally. But for me, it was an arena for self-improvement. Next was I just so desperately wanted to learn to play the saxophone. And by the time fifth grade rolled around, I just expected that, a saxophone would arrive and I would get to and play the saxophone. And I found resistance from my parents. First of all, it's not an inexpensive instrument, but I was like, I've been preparing you for a couple of years. You knew that I wanted to play the saxophone. So they made arrangements and that did happen. Very soon after that, when I went to middle school, I entered a mentorship program for instrumental music. I learned several more instruments, at a basic level, but got experience with them. And then also learned that I did not want to be an instrumental music teacher, which was very valuable. Shortly after that, shifted that curiosity into learning to play the bassoon, which a few years later in high school I was able to have the opportunity to play in what would be like the equivalent of a varsity orchestra in high school as a freshman. So right away, entering freshman year, I got to go into the highest level orchestra band in the school, as well as ensembles. So again, just examples of me pushing myself to the next level. Then when I was also in high school, probably sophomore year, I had long had this inkling of wanting to be an exchange student. And so found a way, despite not being able to afford doing the typical programs, found a way to be able to go on foreign exchange. Then when I came back, still had a senior year to finish. By the end of senior year, I spoke 2 other languages fluently other than my native English. I'm not saying any of this to brag, but what I'm saying is these were life experiences that had already given me experience as a young person to first of all, sense that inkling inside of what I wanted, tuning into that, accepting it, and moving forward with it, exploring it, and having my own volition to do those things. And when other kids my age were being, prodded and guided by their parents to do this sport or to learn piano or this or that, I was really pursuing those things on my own. And again, I'm not saying these things to boast. What I'm saying is, fortunately, those experiences gave me the experience to learn to tune into those not only inner inklings, but to pursue them. And so at a very young age, I was already able to tune in and say, yes, that's what I want, and moving forward. And even if I got resistance from my parents, which is the hardest area to receive resistance from. So fortunately, I listened to that inner voice. And so fast forward a bit, I'm married 5 years later. I have my 5-year high school reunion. And I remember encountering with some of the other ladies of my graduating class, and basically confirming what they had heard, right? They're kind of confirming with me, did you really get married like right out of high school? And I told them yes. And I could almost hear, I could kind of see in their face like, wow, you can do that? And I'm like, yes, that's what I'm saying to you. Yes, you can. But I think I want to give some really big caveats here. I want to give some huge notes of guidance here to not just go blindly in. You need to have a guide. And this is where it goes back to the fishing analogy, okay? Flashback to the last episode number 41. And you may have never fished in your life, but I'm just going to beg you to listen up and just see and hear how the correlations are so amazing. There's so much about our lives as human beings that are intertwined with nature. And there's so many metaphors that really make sense because we are one with nature. Really, we are part of nature. And that's why these metaphors really work. So what I'm saying today is really 2 things, but mainly get out there early. So when you're an angler, a fisherman or a fisherwoman, but I'm going to say angler, it's best to get out there early. Now, not that the fish aren't biting at other times, but it's best to go out early for a number of reasons. First of all, it's just beautiful. It's beautiful when you get out on the water and it's just after dawn and it's just so peaceful and quiet, and all you hear is nature, really. And there might be another angler, making their way to their spot, probably someone out in a canoe, but it's just everybody's just appreciating the peace of it all. And you'll hear the frogs and the birds, of course, and it's just absolutely wonderful. But the fish are also in a similar state. They're coming out of their dormancy. The lake is calm. I imagine a lake. I grew up. I'm here in Minnesota, and we are the land of 10,000 lakes. Now we know that they're counting a few sloughs in there, but we'll take them to get to the magical number of 10,000. And so I envision a lake, and there are cattails along the edges. There might be some sandy beach or rocky beach, but it's just peaceful. It's quiet. None of the boats that are, if can you hear the Minnesota accent there when I say boat each time? Now I'm going to be conscious of it. In the very early morning, it's really only the anglers that are out, if anyone. And, the speedboats aren't out yet. The skiers aren't out yet. They're still waking up, getting breakfast. And it's just a very, very sweet and peaceful time. And you're going out there to go fishing, but there's also just a sense of just being at peace and enjoying the quiet. So this may take some sinking in and some imagination of why this relates to dating and how it relates to getting your catch early in the day. Here, the day implies also the day of your life and also your life as a day. And when you're out early, there might be a few other people fishing, but there's not many. No one's racing around usually. The anglers really respect their space, each other's space. And so there isn't that competition, okay? Competition. And the fish are just waking up. They're typically hungry. And, they haven't gone through all the commotion, all the excitement and agitation from all the activity on the lake yet. Later in the day, things warm up, things are moving. They've already seen a bunch of lures dangled in front of them, bait dangled in front of them. But they're just waking up too, and they're ready for you. They don't know they're ready for you, but you know that they're getting ready for you. So what I also want you to imagine is maybe you've never had fishing experience and it's your first time out on the lake. Maybe you're kind of tired. You're like, why are we out here so early? And your guide is telling you all these things and you're being coached. You already have the correct rod, the line, everything's provided for you. Let's just say it's the ideal situation. And your guide even says, cast in this direction. We're going to go over here. We're going to get in, and I, as your guide here, we're going to get into these details later. But what I'm getting at is, even though it may seem contrary, no one else is out on the lake. It's so early. It's like no one is really awake at this point. I'm barely awake. How are the fish awake? But ironically, it's actually it's the best time. It's also the best time because when you get your catch earlier in the day, you have the rest of your day to do all the other things. You've had that peaceful time. You've had the time to get your catch, and then you can do all the other things that are required of your day. But going back to the guide, if I were your guide, I would want you to have the best experience possible as soon as possible. You might not get your ideal catch, but I at least don't want you to have a bad experience. And as a guide with years of experience, I can easily guide you away from not getting in the weeds, literally in the boat. I can guide you from not casting into the weeds. I can also guide you from not casting into the murky water where I know it's shallow and you're going to catch a catfish. You're going to be catfished. I can help you avoid that. I can help you catch, maybe not your ideal catch at first, but you'll at least have a positive experience. Because imagine if you go out for any type of experience and it's your first time doing anything and you have a bad experience, that's going to spoil it for all the other times that you go out. Let's say it's something like you're practicing to get your driver's license. Maybe you can recall those days. And your first time out driving, you have a near accident. You're going to be afraid all the following times that you get out on the road and that you're practicing for your test, right? And you may be highly motivated. You're like, I have to get my driver's license so that I can do this, 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 and this. And so you're motivated, but you're afraid at the same time. And as your guide, I want you to have positive experiences as soon as possible, right off the bat. Again, it might not be ideal. You probably won't get your ideal catch right away, but I at least don't want you to get caught in the weeds, cast your line in the weeds and have to cut it off and redo everything. I don't want you to waste time. I want you, even if you're waiting for that catch, to be enjoying the birds, to be enjoying the sunrise, to be in a very peaceful, wonderful state. So getting out there early is important because everything is at peace. You're at peace. It's easier to be patient to start with when you start in a peaceful state. The fish, right, the catch has not been stirred up yet. They're more hungry. They haven't been tempted or even brought into a number of boats yet during the day, and their memory has kind of been washed, and it's a new day for them as well. And most of all, the competition is much less at that stage. Or the converse of that is the competition might be less, not just because there's fewer anglers out, but the competition is less because you're in an ideal state. You're in the ideal situation. And yes, you ladies, the younger you are, the more ideal catch you are. And so you have the ideal bait to bring them in. Now we're going to talk about bait. So hang on there. It's going to be in a future episode. You have to properly bait. And yes, this is sounding very manipulative, but really life is about how you position yourself. It's really about strategy. And so what I want to conclude with is, yes, I encourage you to get out there early, but get out there with a guide. Don't have bad experiences, and go out there with strategy and patience, because especially when you get out there early, you can be patient because you do have the time. And then when you catch your great catch early, you can get off to all the other stuff in your day with ease as well. So again, this is age-old advice that is really not given these days, and hardly anyone, I think, unless you grow up in the rural areas like I did, I think hardly anyone, does those things like fishing or gardening. And thankfully, I think those things are taking a comeback. And so whether you've been fishing before or not, I hope to convey clearly how it really is such a great analogy. And I hope that you even get out there and get a guide and go fishing, and, they'll take the fish off the hook for you. Don't worry. But that there's really so many great analogies to glean from these life experiences. So ladies, get out there early, get out there with a guide, have good guidance, and have a strategy and have patience. Okay, stay tuned. I'll have another segment of this series tomorrow. Can't wait to get this all out to you. It's just been cooking inside of me, and I love to hear from you as well. So make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share with a friend that you think this would be helpful or might at least just enjoy this. And I look forward to hearing from you. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Take care.